Ever wondered what the real day-to-day differences between living in Europe and the USA are? Well, today, we're diving into a fun, lighthearted head-to-head comparison of the two. And maybe, I might even get a smile out of you. But first, quick question. Which do you think is better to live in? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is some guy named Dave in Portugal, an American who has traveled to over 20 countries in Europe, and I've made many videos comparing cost of living, healthcare, work-life balance, and similar topics. This is not that. Today we're going to dive into a territory where few go. This is just a silly video for entertainment comparing the everyday life, day-to-day things that you will have to deal with living in Europe or the United States. And if this video offends you, get a life and maybe go take up a new hobby like gardening. Anyway, without further fluffy duff, let's get right into the showdown, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, plug enthusiasts of all ages,
we're diving into the electrifying debate that has been shocking the world for decades. Are electrical sockets better in the USA or Europe? Let's get charged up. First, we have the good old US of A. The infamous Type A and B plug. The Type A is one of the oldest electrical plug designs still in use today. It was absolutely electrifying when it was invented in 1904 by Harvey Hubble. It was widely adopted in the Americas and Japan. And now, meet the improved Type C or Euro plug that is the most widely used electrical plug in the world. With its round sockets and robust design, European plugs say, "Oui, I'm sophisticated, even if they're German." European sockets run on 230 volts. Meanwhile, America's 120 volts say, "Slow and steady wins the race, eventually." But to be honest, after living in Europe for 3 years, I'm going to have to say that I prefer the European plug to the USA one. If you have a heavy charging block like the Apple ones for your laptop, it can easily just fall out of the wall. And the European one just feels so much more stable. I'm gonna have to give this one to Europe. Next, we gather around for the ultimate showdown you didn't know you needed. American dryers versus European, clotheslines? Let's tumble into it. First up, the American dryer. The land of supersized everything, fridges, coffee cups, egos, and yes, the turbocharged tumble dryer. Need your clothes bone dry in 30 minutes flat? Boom! These bad boys could double as a jet engine. Nothing beats the feeling of fresh, hot laundry. It's like a warm hug from your favorite blanket. Plus, who's got time to wait? Americans are too busy chasing dreams, watching Netflix, or Googling how to fix a clogged lint trap. And now we jet across the Atlantic to Europe, where dryers, well, they're more of a suggestion. Why use electricity when you've got the good old-fashioned sunshine? That's right, air drying is the OG eco-friendly hack. In Europe, drying your clothes isn't just a chore, it's a lifestyle. If you care about the environment, your energy bill, and your clothes not shrinking to doll-sized versions of themselves, air drying is a great way to do it, and I do it a lot here in Europe. But beware, should you stumble upon a European dryer, prepare for the slowest spin of your life. Dryers in Europe take an incredible amount of time to dry your clothes, like 3 hours. So air drying your clothes outside is the preferred option in Europe. But here's the kicker, literally. Americans might love their dryers, but their electricity bills love them even more. Europeans, on the other hand, are busy saving money and Mother Earth, one drying rack at a time. So which is better? The power and speed of the American dryer or the eco-friendly charm of the European breeze? It all boils down to your priorities, instant results or Zen-like patience. As much as I love the soothing meditation of drying my clothes outside, Europe in the winter is probably the worst place to dry your clothes outside. And having a good dryer is just so convenient, even here in Southern Europe in a place like Portugal. So this one for me is going to go to the USA. All right, folks, next we're tackling the real cultural divide, light switches. Forget politics, forget food, this is what truly separates us. Welcome to Europe, where light switches are chic, square, and flush with the wall. Press up for off and down for on. Sophisticated, elegant. And here's the good old US of A. Our switches, it's like a little thing that goes up and down. Are you just happy to see me, or is your light on? But in a lot of places in Europe, especially Southern Europe, the light switch is outside of the bathroom. To be in the bathroom or outside of the bathroom. That is the question. Now there's a logical reason for this, as before fault circuit interrupters were invented to prevent electrocution, it was mandatory for the light switches to be on the outside of the bathroom. However, this has changed in most parts of Europe, and it makes sense because it's no fun to be in the shower and have your siblings turn the lights off on you as a prank. But in my opinion, where the US wins is the dimmer. Light dimmers aren't as common in Europe, and that's unfortunate when it's time to turn on the slow jams and dim down the lights. Now, a quick word from the sponsor who made this video possible. Have you ever Googled yourself and thought, why is all this information about me online? I mean, my phone number, my old addresses, even stuff I don't remember sharing. It's all just there for anyone to see. And all the anonymous calls and spam emails, they were getting out of control. It felt like my personal space was invaded 24/7. And the worst part is that criminals are actually using your personal information to take out loans in your name and even buy houses. Well, that's where the sponsor of today's video, Incogni, can help. It's this amazing service that takes on data brokers, the companies that collect and sell your personal info. You know, the ones behind all those leaks? Incogni contacts them for you and requests them to have your data removed. This process is super simple. I signed up, and in minutes Incogni was already sending requests to dozens of data brokers. They even keep you updated on the progress with their insightful dashboard. And the best part, I didn't have to do a thing. Incogni handled everything, follow-ups, tracking, all of it. After a few weeks, I started noticing fewer spam calls and emails. It's honestly such a relief. Right now, if you use the code DavePortugal at Incogni.com, you can get 60% off their annual plan. Now that's a great deal. Take control of your personal data today with Incogni. Now, back to the video. And we can't talk about safety without talking about door locks. In Europe, locking your door is like solving an escape room. You've got to lift the handle, twist the key, say a magic spell, and perform a little waltz before it's secure. Meanwhile, in the US, click, and that's it. A toddler could lock it or unlock it, which is slightly concerning. I've noticed that Europeans are always accidentally locking themselves out of their house, seemingly more on average than in the US. And that's because a lot of doors lock automatically when you close the door. In Europe, I'm convinced your locksmith has a degree in engineering. It's like, this lock has been passed down for generations, crafted by medieval blacksmiths. Meanwhile, in the US, it's like, hey, close enough. If someone really wants in, they'll just kick the door in anyway. So in Europe, your door is like Fort Knox, and in the US, it's more like Fort Cardboard. To be honest, I think this one is a stalemate because there are pros and cons to each locks in Europe and the USA. Stalemate! So recently on a trip back to the United States, I couldn't help but notice how different consumerism is between the USA and Europe. In grocery stores in the US, it's like you're constantly bombarded by all these single brands for everything. It's just crazy how many options you have for everything, and it seems like everyone and their cousin has made some product, pitched it to Shark Tank, and now you're being sold a bottle of water for $7 that has some type of vitamin in it you apparently can't live without, even though everyone has been just fine without it up until this point. But let's face it, the United States goes way overboard when it comes to health trends and getting you to buy products you probably don't really need. In Europe, this isn't so much the case. You can find everything you need, but there are far less brands in your face everywhere. You can find the high quality raw materials, and shopping is just much more simple. Without a doubt, Europe has much higher quality food for less than the United States. But what I will say is that the United States has much higher quality standards for other things. For instance, Leroy Merlin, or Leroy Merlin, a hardware store which is all over Europe, doesn't even hold a candle when it comes to Home Depot in the United States, in my opinion. Most of the stuff I've purchased from Leroy Merlin is very cheap, expensive, and honestly not worth it. That's not to say there aren't high quality products in Europe, but you're better off to get high quality stuff directly from the manufacturer. I'm gonna give this one to Europe because I prefer to buy more important things like healthy food at an affordable price versus Whole Foods in the United States, aka Whole Paycheck, where health stores have become one of the greediest and biggest scams in the US, in my opinion. Europe, you get this one. Now let's talk about some important business. What's more universal, right? In the US, toilets are like swimming pools for your business. There's so much water in there, you'd expect a lifeguard to show up. And sometimes, if you're not careful, it can splash back up at you like a cannonball. Meanwhile, in Europe, it's all about efficiency. You've got these sleek, low water bowls that scream, "We're here to do the job, not host a pool party." And then there's the button dilemma. One button for a light flush, another for a heavy flush. In America, it's one handle, one job. In Europe, you suddenly have to make an ethical decision about how much water your actions truly deserve. Now, the reason I'm going to give this to Europe is because a lot of European countries have a secret weapon, and that's the bidet. Now, I hope you had as much fun as I did because this was just a blast. This video is in no way saying that the United States or Europe is better. It's just me trying to have some good, clean fun and hopefully make you smile. If you like this video and you want to see more videos about living in Europe, subscribe to my channel. I will be posting videos like this every single week for your viewing pleasure. Remember, this is some guy named Dave in Portugal, and hopefully we'll see you next time.